You were pissed. YouTube's on. YouTube's on. We're on live on YouTube on there. Stephanie's not in, so you're not going to get your exclusive makeup with Stephanie on there. Yeah, we'll probably have to do that one time just for the heck of it. You know, if you do go on TV, you have to do that of stuff, which is it's still for a guy that is it's still kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know. We're retarded, phobic, or whatever the hell you want to say, but it's just weird to have somebody put makeup on. You have to put makeup on that. We're getting ready to hook up on Facebook Live, getting on that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we go. You know what? I'm thinking that is the coolest intro music that has ever been invented. We don't need words for it or nothing. That just says it all. That nice little riff coming in there on that. I don't know, but that's what I vote for. I think that's just cool, just running that coming in as we're doing it on that as we're hooked up. Now, both on YouTube and Facebook Live on Newswire Daily. We're going to be cooking it up on Thursday of that. Bringing you all the news and views of everything that's going on, not only in the Inland Empire, but to the whole universe. Will you? We even maybe cover some, tell you about how the rings of Saturn were made or something. Who knows on what subjects we might venture off into on that. Coming to you from the Toyota San Bernardino Recording Studios, as we do each and every Monday through Friday, starting again live at 5 on that. And then at 5:30, we roll into KMET 1490 on that, which we won't today because they're doing a Laker game, but we're just keeping that silent. But all kinds of stuff rocking and rolling on that. First story, we're going to have Eddie George on a Hemet Eye News. He just posted a video of stuff of what was going on in Hemet, which was interesting to say the least. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I got about 5 minutes of it, which was done in the style that only the crazy guy with a lazy eye can do on that. The whole crew, and I think they had the whole crew, Lori and Hetty, and I can't remember Flash, the kid's name, and the other guy that helps him out a lot too on the stuff. But they had a pretty good presence out there. It's a pretty interesting video, but we'll have Eddie on here in a few minutes to talk about that. One thing, and we did cover I think it happened Saturday night, the crash in Temescal Valley that wound up taking the lives of 3 teenagers, injured 3 more. It was. Right now, and there are a lot more details that's coming out, and this is in the Press Enterprise, headlined by Brian Rokos on there. As I roll my deal up, attempted murder charges filed in Temescal Valley crash that left 3 teens dead. So have the story up on there on the video so they can see the picture of the man. There's the guy being arrested. Amarung Chalanda, as I hope I'm saying his name close enough that you'll figure that out. But the 42-year-old Temescal Valley man was charged with murder and attempted murder Thursday, January 23rd, after prosecutors said his angry pursuit of a car full of teens who played a doorbell ringing prank at his home ended with the 3 boys dead and 3 injured. How would you say that name, Jesse? It's in there in red there.
Let's see. Anurag Chandra?
Yeah, that's close enough for me. That one's a real tongue twister. Was scheduled to enter a plea Thursday afternoon in downtown Riverside Superior Court. He's charged with 3 counts of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder. The Riverside County District Attorney's Office said. Prosecutor's office said the boys were having a sleepover Sunday on a dare drove in a Toyota Prius to a nearby home on, boy, are these names, Mojeska Summit Drive to ring a doorbell and run. Chandra, who lived in the home where the prank was played, got into his Infiniti sedan and chased the youths in the Prius, authorities said. California Highway Patrol said Chandra intentionally rammed the back of the Prius, forcing the driver to lose control and hit a tree in Temescal Canyon near Trilogy Parkway in Temescal Valley in the county of Riverside. Riverside County Coroner's Bureau identified those killed as Daniel Hawkins, 16, of Corona, Drake Ruiz, 16, of Corona, and Jacob Ivescu, 16, of Riverside. The district attorney's office Thursday said the survivors included 2 boys, ages 13 and 14, and the driver, who's 18. Chandra remained in custody Thursday with no bail to be held at a Robert Presley Detention Center in downtown Riverside. Now, I could see the homeowner being upset, whatever, it's early in the morning, and getting his doorbell rang, and there's these kids playing a teenage prank of doing it. I'm not going to ever say or if I have ever pulled that little trick myself, but, running them down or ramming their car. Now, following them, found out where they are, take their license plate number down, try and contact their parents, or say, hey, these kids were in this car. Fine. But as an adult, 42 years old, and if that was the case, I mean, you're doing, usually, society's changing with the homeless and stuff and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, if you hear a doorbell ring and nobody's there, you're probably figuring it's a teenager's prank or whatever. I mean, you'd almost have to be up at that time to do that by the time you would figure out, unless they did it 27 times, which you usually don't do. But, I mean, who knows how the situation... I mean, you would think the guy would have been up to be able to get in his car and follow these guys, at that time. Because usually you go up there and ring the doorbell, bail in the car, bail off, ha, ha, ha. But by the time you wake up or you get up to answer the door, they are long gone. But however the situation went in that, to ram somebody's car or something, or, intentionally do that, unfortunately, that's the circumstances that come off on this stuff. And, we've had a real tragic situation doing that, and this guy's facing murder and attempted murder charges over that, and we will see how this plays out in court of that. But man, that if he and the car that he was the Infiniti that he was supposedly stopped with and stuff had front end damage on it, so I mean, there's a lot of evidence suggesting that what has been listed or what is being explained by that is very plausible of what happened in this situation on that. It's a... I've said this many times. Most of the time, well, maybe a smart car or something, but I mean, in most cases, most people are driving 2 tons of liquid dynamite when you're driving a car. At any second, that thing can take you out in a heartbeat. And it's you just got to be careful when you're driving. I mean, these consequences, most people are not retarded like Roy and a few of us that have crashed many of these things, racing and stuff like that. But that's a voluntary action. You all know what you're doing out there, and you're building cars specifically made to crash. They are, and in most cases, in today's with all the safety improvement, you can survive some pretty horrific crashes in most racing cars today at any spot. But most people don't know the amount of hurt that goes on when you do crash one of those things, and the ultimate consequences. Somebody can get killed in these things, and it's just like this. I mean, you can do that if you hit. Most people don't know this, but it only takes 12 miles an hour. If you hit a brick wall at 12 miles an hour, you can get what's called a basal skull fracture, which is where your spine goes into your brain, and what it will do is it'll do this, and when you do that, it will pull your spine out of where it hooks to the brain, and you are dead like that. It's what killed Dale Earnhardt in Daytona in 2001. and many, many, many others until they come up with the Hans device, which has saved a lot of people on that. That's a deal that goes underneath your shoulder harnesses, hooks to your helmet. So when you go, the only thing that isn't holding you together is your neck. It's actually you got straps and stuff. Probably saved many, many, many lives on that. But you're not wearing all that stuff when you're doing it on the deal. So it's it's something that you got to. So it's not a the part of the deal that you're going on that, but again, here's another tragic situation that if it's played out like it is being did, that was fully preventable. If that guy wouldn't have hit those kids, and did that, we would have had you know, we wouldn't be we wouldn't be faced with this tragic situation. Three families wouldn't have lost three teenage kids. So that's the whole enchilada on that whole deal. That's the latest updates on that. Just a quick update on the story we did yesterday on the Riverside City Council. That just stay tuned. I put out one piece. Follow the money. There's probably going to be more to this whole story of what was actually going on, where Gabby P, the newly elected city councilwoman, put on the agenda to file to remove Planning Commissioner Sean Meal, which she ran against in the latest election of that. So it's it's something that really, really, really is going to, I think, going to bring a lot of attention to the fair city of River City going on over there. So that's another thing to be stay tuned for up and down the line going on. So lot of stuff. Of course, the Trump day 3 of the Trump impeachment trial of that going on of that. So. Yeah, is there something going on that we should be aware of on that? As I'm trying to listen to my producer having a two-way conversation of what some sort of big events.
No, your dad called. I was about to contact Eddie George.
Oh, okay.
And he was just telling me a story about how you flipped your car over.
There's a few of those.
Oh yeah, it was quite entertaining.
Well, I'm still here. That's what I'm saying. But race cars are made to do that. Yeah, I mean, you have a good chance of surviving that when you're doing that sort of stuff. But that, and he's probably telling some of that stuff happens intentionally out like this, but that's why they have roll cages and you have safety harnesses and helmets on and all that other stuff, because stuff like that happens. I always said anything you're doing that requires a helmet is probably not a very smart thing to be doing. But we're getting ready to hook up with Eddie George on that and get all the updates or whatever's going on in the city of Hemet going on, all that, because like everywhere else, there's always something popping in the great city of Hemet, and the guy that covers that with his great website, with his crew, Lori, and all the others that do that, is that crazy guy with a lazy eye, Eddie George of Hemet Eye News. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Lord? Every time I get on here, you calling me names. But hey, don't call me Rachel Rails or Rocky. How you doing, buddy?
Absolutely fantastic. Well, just save you mention that because I saw the video that you posted today. I think that I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I saw the first part of it. I guess I'm not the only one that's into the name calling thing and stuff.
Yeah, right?
I mean, what the heck was first? And when we're gonna play, we're gonna show a little bit of the clip while we're talking here of the video of it. But first, you had a conversation, so just kind of set it up. What were you doing, and who did you have a little confrontation? No, just a verbal back and forth with at a scene where the cops were at in Hemet.
Well, it's a long story brought down short, Roy. There's a guy, he calls himself an activist reporter, and what it does is he was actually on a scene. Hemet Police, Officer Cooley and a couple of his fellow officers had a vehicle traffic stop, and they were searching the vehicle and had three subjects, handcuffed on the ground, sitting on the curb, and this guy, he calls himself Cop Watcher.
Right.
And he just purposely, when he approaches the police, he approaches them with a chip on his shoulder. And he gets, like, right up in their way, you know, just close enough to make the officers say something to him, like, hey, can you step back a little bit? And that's basically what happened. Officer Cooley here with Hemet Police, he was very professional about it. You know, he just bluntly, hey, sir, can you step back, 10 feet, you know, because we're trying to deal with a traffic stop. And this guy just goes to heck off on the officers, calling them effing pigs, you know, get back, do your job, you effing pig, da-da-da. And was just commenced to just bashing the officers. And I thought to myself, you know, these officers were doing their job until, you know, you got up in their way. And, you know, he started like, oh, well, the First Amendment right, you know, the judge done ruled my rights as a, you know, news reporter that, you know, there's no crime scene. But, you know, it's like this guy, he just don't understand, you know, you approach an officer, you're going to approach him with respect, you're going to get that respect. There's so many times that I'm even actually inside the crime scene with the officers and they don't tell me to step back. And then if they do, well, then not a problem, officer, not a problem. You know, I got Zoom, you know, we go to my camera. I always give our officer respect and I always get their respect. But that night, this guy, he just wanted to find an officer just to go off on. So I told, you know, when I seen that video on the YouTube channel, I told the police captain out here and the police chief, I said, you know, that really burnt my rear end up when I seen that video. And I like, you know, if you ever see this guy on a scene and I show up, just step back, tell your officers, do not intervene. I want to say things that these officers want to say but can't say, and I did. And I just basically told the guy what my amendment right was, and I told him my freedom of speech. And the officers even backed me up, like, dude, thank you for doing what you did. You know, we wanted to say everything you said, but we couldn't. So, and in that video, you'll see the full conversation. I actually had 4 cameras running live on our social media news network on Hemet Eye News. And I basically just told the guy, you know, what the facts of life is, you know, and if you're going to be a reporter, do it professionally. Don't come in there with a chip on your shoulder and bully our police. And you'll see the whole thing in the video.
Yeah, it looks like you had Lori, what is it, the younger guy, Flash or whatever you call him, and what's the other guy you had out there with you?
That was Ricardo and Flash, and Chris Mayton was. They were actually reporters with us at that time. They're not with us anymore.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, can you send me some information? Because I've never run across this guy. I'd like to just to see who he is, what he is, and maybe invite him on the show, give him his side of the story of what was going on. Because I mean, I have no doubt what you're saying. It probably is 100% accurate on this stuff. But you know, if this guy's out there doing that, because I mean, you know, doing that, and you're exactly right. I mean, you know, if you want to see what will happen, you know, just get mouthy with the cops. And
exactly.
you know, they usually take a very dim view of that, and they might not do anything wrong, but you know, if you're asking for a break or something, or you're not quite complying with the law, they will show you how they have the authority invested by the state of California and what they can do.
Right. And in this video that you've got of me confronting the guy, he walked away and he went around the whole block and came back around the backside to go to his truck. And he wouldn't approach his truck because we were standing out there watching, you know, waiting for him to come to his truck. He thought we were going to follow him, you know. And I'm like, why should I do all that walking when I know where you're already parked at, right? So when he comes back around to go to his truck, the same officer, Roy, that he called an effing pig, he walked up to that officer and asked him, could you escort me to my truck because I'm scared of this guy. I was on his heels, let me tell you, Roy. When that officer was walking to the truck, I was right behind that officer running my mouth saying, oh, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about, folks. This guy wants to call this officer an effing pig But now he's coming to the officer asking for help, and the officer's
right.
just like laughing.
Yeah, that big mean Eddie George is following me.
Right, exactly. That's basically what he told the officer. And after he got him in his truck and walked off, I told the officer what I just said about him calling you a pig and then now he's wanting your help. He said, "Yeah, I know it." He said, "I just figured I'd just go ahead and escort him off just to get him out of here." I'm like, well, maybe he won't come back after this. I told him to get the hell out of my town. He's like, "Oh, your town?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is my town. We represent our police and we back our police out here." I said, "Next time, you need help, don't call the police. Call your crack whore."
Yeah. I think it. Yeah, I mean, if he is doing that or making a confrontation, hey, if you're going to be a badass, then stand up and be it all the time. Don't
Amen.
don't hide out. If you're going to run your jaw a little bit, then run it to everybody. And I mean, stand up in there and take it as take whatever consequences that are going to come down the pipe.
Yeah, if you're going to dish it out, be ready to eat that supper,
Yeah, you got that. I mean, I've done both some dishing and I've taken some dishing over the years of doing that stuff, and that's all part. You learn those little lessons of what you can and should do, and even so, learning those lessons that I've learned, probably you've learned sometimes the hard way. That's probably why we have the respect for that today, because we know what can happen when things go haywire.
Exactly. And, there's times where, that I'll walk up into a green building and there's no yellow tape up or anything. And normally, if there's yellow tape, you don't cross over that area. That's actually a bona fide ordered crime scene. And there's one time I was at a shooting, and I just, I was walking around taking pictures, no yellow tape up, and I walked into an area where the officer was, searching for the bullet casings, and they're like, "Oh, Eddie, you're in a crime scene, you need to get out." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, officer, not a problem, bro. I didn't see any tape, so I didn't know it was considered a crime scene. It's not a problem. I don't mean to be mean at you. No, you're just doing your job,
Right.
And we were cool. Now, if that was him, there would have all been kind of name calling, and it's just crazy. That's what I tried to stress to that guy that night. If you want respect from the police, you got to give them respect, because you give them that inch, they'll give you a mile.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, I've done the same thing. They haven't had the crime tape, the yellow tape up or the crime scene secured yet, and you just wander up there like you or I would normally do and start taking pictures and say, "Hey, we're looking for stuff," or "Can you please move over there? We're looking for X, Y, and Z," or da 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 da. "Can you stand over there?" "Yes, sir, officer. We can do that." Like you say, we're cool. You treat them with respect. You treat them like human beings. They, like you said, they will treat you more than very graciously.
Exactly. And they do all the time out here, and that's why, I protect our police out here. That's why one reason I'm shooting a documentary out here is called HPD Live in the Streets. And you can find it on our YouTube channel under Hemet News on YouTube. And I actually, I get up and close and personal with our local law enforcement, and I show the people, what these officers actually deal with on the streets. At night, you sitting at home, drinking your coffee, drinking your beer or whatever, and enjoying it in the safe of your home, and we're out here showing you what the police are actually doing and deal with, on a nightly basis out here. And I'm also shooting one with CHP coming up soon too, so you guys be on the lookout for that on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, you're flat really getting into this video aspect of doing this sort of stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've always been into newscasting ever since I was probably 18 years old. Freelance for WTBY and WSFA and WDHN 18 out of Alabama. And then I also did a lot of covering for RickyStokesNews.com out there. And then I moved out here and started doing the Hemet Eye News out here, and just got into doing, I've always been into video editing, video production and stuff, so that's my passion. So I figured this year, 2020, I'm going to shoot some documentaries of our local PD and our local fire department. And I'm also we're working on a documentary that's going to be, we got a Britain production company out of Britain is going to be flying out here in the United States and shooting a Britain documentary on our documentary of the Norco 80 bank robbery that occurred back in 1980. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Several officers were shot and killed in that. I actually going to be interviewing the actual prisoners that was arrested and got 3 life sentences. So we're working on that documentary as we speak. So that's going to be a pretty big one as well.
Yeah, that sounds like some exciting stuff coming up on that. And yeah, I mean, people think of that, and I've seen, especially you've taken a lot of brickbats there in Hemet of doing stuff, and that's why I kind of want to let folks know, that you just didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday and just decide to do all this stuff. You've actually, made a career, had a lot of experience doing this kind of stuff. You just didn't, wake up yesterday and say, well, yeah, we're just going to go out and start filming stuff and doing all this,
Right.
stuff.
All this has been about a year planning shooting these documentaries, and we're just now getting our camera crews together and actually starting to put it together.
And I can tell you from running this and running a radio studio and stuff, man, that is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time, effort, and even technical ability to set up all this stuff and make it all work.
Oh, it does. A lot of times it takes me a couple hours just to make a 30-second or 30-minute video, just to put out to the public. So it's a lot of work in it,
Yeah, people don't realize, you might do, they see the 30-second clip that you do of a commercial. They don't realize you might have spent 2, 3, even sometimes 10 hours putting that. By the time you shoot it, you bring it back and edit it and go back and forth.
That's
and
right.
da-da-da-da-da. Man, that's a lot, that's a lot of time and work and effort that it takes to put these things together. So, I mean, you just don't, like I say, you just don't wake up one day and decide you're going to put stuff together like that. It takes a lot of time, materials, talent, and even a lot of bucks in some cases to do it.
Right. Well, I actually did wake up one morning and say I want to do this, but it actually took me a year to get it started.
Right. Yeah, it does take that initial thought, but yeah, you didn't wake up the next day and roll out of bed and say, okay, we got all this stuff set up. It takes a lot of it takes just a tremendous amount of effort to do that. And and put this stuff together. I mean, it's like this, doing the videos and stuff, and putting the daily show together. People don't realize the amount of time it takes to put this, lining up guests, like you're saying, getting videotapes and re-editing. And can we play this? Well, no, maybe you can't play that, and yada yada. By the time you get it all together, you see the final production of it. But most people aren't aware of. There's probably 10 or 20 hours for every hour you see that you actually see on film or print or anything like that.
Exactly. And especially a lot of times when we're on scenes, that's an all-night scene, like a police standoff or something like that. You spend it all night long getting all kind of, shots and B-roll shots and stuff like that. And then when you go to put it together, like, okay, all these clips look good, but I want the best clips to put the story together, and that's how I normally do when I'm not on scenes. I kind of eyeball the scene, figure out what's going on, and then I put the story of the scene together in my head and then I shoot it the way that I, storyboard it in my head, and that's why it comes out like a reality.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating what's going on out there. Anything else going on out in Hemet we should know about?
Yeah, well, I did do a story today. We actually, I don't know if you watched the live stream or not, but we actually have a new hospital coming into Hemet that's being built. Just found that out today, and I met with the owner of the hospital, and it's going to be a three-story hospital, 24-hour. It's going to be called Urgent Care Hospital. It's going to have a 24/7 emergency room. It's going to have 3 floors. It's going to have a heart, cardiac floor. They'll also, have, bedding, where, you too sick to go home, and they decide to keep you. Well, they got the full nursing staff and doctors, and, they'll make you in. You have private room and everything. So they're on the first stage construction right now. They are hoping to have it open and ready to start receiving patients by around sometime in March. So I told him, wow, you got a lot of work to do before March, but he said our goal is to have it done by March. So that's going to be another great thing.
Yeah,
And they'll
that's
take Kaiser.
yeah.
They'll take Blue Cross Blue Shield, IEHP, Medi-Cal, Medicare, every insurance. So it's going to be like a Hemet hospital, but probably bigger and better.
Yeah, I mean, a little over a year to build a hospital, man, that's flat flying because, man, the
You
rules
got it.
and regulations and standards on hospitals are like, I mean, they inspect everything like right to the T, and rightfully so because, I mean, usually if you're in the hospital like I was a year ago, I mean, you're in there for some pretty serious stuff. So, yeah, those hospitals are not easy projects to put together.
Oh, no, they're not, and that's why I was telling the owner, my hat's off to you because you got a lot of work to do, brother.
Yeah.
And they're actually told me they're going to probably Hemet Hospital's going to probably look for more doctors, because he said he's going to be taking all the doctors from Hemet Hospital. So, both of them will be hiring by the time we get done. Both hospitals.
Yeah, that's no, and that's really great news for the Hemet community because a investment like that. I mean, that's got to be in the tens of millions of dollars to build a new hospital like that. And
I know it.
That's some really exciting news that a company's in there, investing that kind of capital in Hemet right now for doing that.
That's right. He's a good guy, and hey, my hat's off to him, and I know he'll make it happen.
You got it. So anything else exciting or non-exciting or anything else we should be aware of that's going on down in the great city of Hemet?
Oh, really not much. It's been pretty well quiet this week. I haven't really been out covering news this week. I've been doing a lot of video work and editing and production, stuff like that. So I've been hitting in the office, all week this week. So, but hopefully we'll have some more good stories for you next week.
You got it. And, let's, I'm really curious about the documentaries because, I mean, those are really, really neat. I'd like to start doing some of them myself at some point because...
well, hey, come on down. I'll help you shoot them. We've got the equipment.
You got it because, there's a lot of issues, and we're going to talk about some of them here in the next half hour. But, there's a lot of important issues. I mean, we went on with the fiasco that's going on down in Riverside right now with the... with the attempted mini coup that was going on down there and stuff. And, there's just so many things, the homeless problem we have going not everywhere. I mean, we're getting inundated with that and traffic and crime and everything else like that. Plus, we have to deal with people with attitudes like you do and stuff like that.
So that's just a teetotal new radio show right there, just on that subject.
There you go. On that. Thanks a lot, Eddie, on that. We'll have you on again next week.
All right, you guys have a good one. Make sure you follow us on YouTube under Hemet Eye News. It's the crazy guy with Louisiana. I'm about you, and I am off your air.
You got it. Eddie, he's a great guy. Probably not wrapped real tight like I am, too, but of that going on with that. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, and Eddie brought out a great point of that. Hey, you're out there, the cops got their job to do. We do, media, whoever's reporting on that, we have our job to do. I mean, we all got to work, we all got to work together on this stuff. And, we don't need to be hassling. I mean, I understand, cops got a tough job anyway. And I do understand that if they are looking for, I mean, we're trying to get the story in the exclusive and that's what we're trying to do. And they understand that. But even from my perspective, I don't want to damage a case if they're looking for evidence or something. I understand we don't want a bunch of people walking around or taking evidence or something that might be in a deal. So you got to understand the cops' perspective on this stuff too, because they have their job to do, and their job at that point or what they're doing is more important than what we're doing. Because we sure as heck, at least I don't want them not missing evidence or something damaging a case of something because, Roy or somebody was wandering around there or stepped on something or, damaged evidence or, inadvertently kicked something or, who knows? So they got their job to do. And as Eddie said, if you're respectful to them, they're usually more than reciprocating in that. And of that. And if you're respectful for them, they'll say, "Hey, yeah, this is what's going on," or da 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 da, and kind of give you some inside tips of what's going on, or clue you in as best they can, or for what was that, or tell you where you can get the information. If they can't tell you, call down to the PIO or something. They'll have the updates and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have to find out. We'll have to reach out to that other gentleman that's in the video, and maybe we'll get his side of the story. If he wants to come on, we'll get his side of the story too. So, we aim to, and like I said, there's empty chairs around here all the time. There's empty microphones. There's phone lines to call in. We take them all on. I mean, we're not hiding or running from anything. I mean, everybody's got to. I mean, as long as you are respectful or stuff, I mean, everybody's got a chance to take their, everybody's got the opportunity, at least from my perspective, to give their side of the story on that. Just the same thing, and I'm going to reach out to old Gabby Placentia, the councilwoman down there in Riverside. She's got every opportunity to call in, come in studio, whatever, to give her side of the story of what happened on the attempted takeover or throwing out or ousting of Planning Commissioner Sean Mill on that information. Like I said, stay tuned. We'll have that. We'll have Jason Hunter back on probably next week. On that, he's really busy right now with some other stuff, but we'll have him. I'm sure he'll have. He was down there in the public comments too, and I'm sure he'll have some great inside information as only he can in the illustrious River City, as I call it anyway, because a lot of stuff popping down there as there is anywhere else. But it was exciting news to hear about what's happening over there in Hemet, going on top of that, because man, there's one community that has really, really, really taken a lot of brickbats and been kicked down, kind of like San Bernardino and even Moreno Valley for a lot of cases, and sometimes not undeservedly. I mean, we have made a lot of mistakes across the board in all three of those cities and that. But when there is something that's positive going on around or new development coming in, we want to report that too. So that's some really, really good news of that, because hospitals are very, very, very expensive. I mean, that sounds like a 40, 50, 60 million dollar, could be $100 million project down there for what they're talking about, or the way Eddie's explaining it. So that's a pretty significant investment in Hemet for and ultimately if they get it done by next March, I mean, the community of Hemet will definitely benefit from having a new facility in there, and hopefully it's a first class. Sounds like it's a first class facility down there. So that's each and every. That's some very good news coming on down in Hemet. We'll talk a little bit about the Trump impeachment, so have the clip ready of that. We're on day 3 of the trial, the phony trial of that, because there's there's better odds of Roy turning green and having horns growing out of his head than Donald Trump being impeached as president. This whole action is absolutely stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of public money. If there was a legitimate reason to remove the president of the United States, then fine. Have the impeachment trial, do that. That's what the process is not, I don't like you, so we're just going to throw, doesn't matter what the electorate said, and ultimately the Electoral College of the United States, of the votes of the 50 states, said, we just don't like the guy, we're going to throw him out. Well, if we use that standard for impeachment, then do we have the video ready? I've got it started where I wanted it on the Trump one. Oh, my video reloads. It's about a minute in, so just hit it about halfway through is where I wanted to hit it. So just start it from that point, and it'll pick it up. But the Trump comments on come in about halfway through the video, so just start it in there somewhere, and we'll listen to Donald Trump on the impeachment hearings that are going on in the District of Criminals today, like I said, day 3 of what's going on.
Of a common foundation, of a lot of business context, friendship, youth exchange, science, culture, since way more than 70 years. So the American people and the European people are good friends, and this is what we're going to do.
He's at an economic forum with some of the foreign leaders discussing how we should, how we can improve our already vastly going economy.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
President, can you say whether you'll introduce a motion to dismiss when the Senate trial begins?
That whole thing is a hoax. It goes nowhere because nothing happened. The only thing we've done is a great job. We have the strongest country in the world by far, and it was going in the wrong direction. We have the greatest economy we've ever had in the history of our country. And I'm in Europe today because we're bringing a lot of other companies into our country with thousands of jobs, millions of jobs in many cases. So that whole thing is a total hoax. So I'm sure it's going to work out fine. Thank you all very much.
How long will it last, sir, do you think?
Thank you very much.
So yeah, he's right. It's a hoax. It's stupid. They've got nothing. Their goofball shift is going on about integrity of elections and all that, yada yada. You want to talk about integrity of elections? Let's just start investigating the Los Angeles area where Shifty Shift is actually represented, around the Burbank areas, I think, where around his congressional district in the great state of California. L.A. County, as Susan Shelley has pointed out many other times on this very program, has got a voter registration of like 142% of the population. Now, I have not heard one peep out of Adam Bullshift about the integrity of Los Angeles County elections, where he's actually a resident and a representative of a lot of people. What about, I think each congressional district's about in the 600,000 or 700,000 range, something like that. People in L.A. County himself. I wonder if there's any election fraud going on there. And I wonder how much election fraud he has stood up for. Because I bet you if he looks in his own backyard, there's probably a lot of it going on. Maybe even in his congressional district that got him elected. Why don't we shine a little light on the cockroaches that are over there instead of worrying about something that didn't happen? He doesn't seem all fired up about what Hillary done with the emails and all this stuff and all of that, and the DNC investigating and all that, and Billy C. on there in the airplane with the people, I wonder what they were talking about while Hillary was running and all that stuff. That doesn't seem to bother these guys in the least. And this is far more important than any of this other whiny bull that they keep coming up with. It's absolutely, it's thoroughly frustrating how we can deal with political BS. And I pull it back. We did the same thing at Riverside. I'm down there. 1 o'clock, the meeting started Tuesday. I had to leave at 4 o'clock. They didn't start the agenda item that Gabby P. put on there as an emergency. We've got to get rid of Sean Meal deal because there's procedures. Put it on Friday. Oh, yeah, we're going to take him out we're going to put it on there for a vote on Tuesday. What the heck is going on? Like they said, Riverside has procedures for doing that. If there's some sort of emergency, like the very esteemed council member Chuck Condor said, if there's something going on that, Sean Meal shot 3 people in the public square or something and is going on, yeah, that's what the emergency procedure for removing somebody is for. Not, I just don't like Sean Meal and the whole diversity thing. What a bunch of crock. We played the clip of Sean Meal's father-in-law, who happens to be a very dark shade of brown. So what sort of diversity is she freaking talking about? I'm calling it. Is that not the ultimate race baiters? The race baiters are the ones that just sit there every day and they claim that they're purer than the wind-driven snow and they're the actual racists that are sitting out there. It's just like the greenie eco-freaks, like that ding-dong, whatever time woman, that 16-year-old that doesn't know her hat from a hole in the ground, talking about, they're killing us all, or whatever the heck she's whining about, doesn't know blank. And is exactly advocating for the policies that are going to ruin this planet. Just like they've done in California, not clearing the forests. Burn up, how many people, thousands of people died in all these stupid fires that were not, maybe not preventable, but perfectly preventable from not wiping out whole towns and civilizations and killing tens of thousands of people, thousands of people, and billions, if not trillions of dollars worth of property wiped out. It's getting, I mean, where's the evidence? She was attacking her predecessor, which served, as Chuck Conder pointed out, 3 terms in that seat before her. Nobody in the last 2, except the first time when he ran, the second 2 times, nobody even ran against him. Now, I've said that. I've had disagreements, or, wait, what's Chris MacArthur doing on that? But he has a high reputation, and nobody has ever had a hint that he was anything other than having high character. And she's coming on about, my predecessor's doing this in diversity and blah, 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 blah. Shut the heck up. Again, Gabby P., open seat here, open mics, call in, whatever. You have an open opportunity to come here and defend and explain, defend, or whatever what you were trying to pull off. Because you're the one that said this stuff. It's on videotape. We played the clip of your opening speech of that, your opening statement, I guess I should say, at the council meeting at Tuesday in the Riverside City Council chambers. As in Washington, D.C., 3,000 miles west to Riverside, California, up to the scoundrels of Sacramento, up to these goofballs in Seattle that are letting this homeless crisis going on, and we can go all the way back to Massachusetts or Vermont for whatever stupid crap they're doing over there, and on and on and on. If you guys don't, when are the majority of the people going to wake up? I mean, this whole thing about AB 5, where they're cutting where they're eliminating the independent contractors. It's nothing more than attack on Uber and Lyft because they're getting around. They have done an end round around the unions and the corrupt taxi companies and the governments that are getting, I don't know what it is here, but I think in New York City, Jesse, open your mic up.
Uh-oh. What do you want?
New York City.
Okay.
What do you think it costs for a license to get a taxi cab, to run one taxi cab in New York City?
For, I don't know, $3,000?
$250,000.
Wait. To drive a taxi?
To get a permit to be allowed to haul somebody in your unit and charge them for it.
That's absurd.
I'm glad you said that. That was producer Jesse saying that's absurd, not the crazy hillbilly over here that goes off all the time on this stuff. Because anybody with a semblance of common sense can see what the heck is going on. Uber and Lyft are providing a service. People can accept it or not. It's what the free market is all about. Look at how many people are affording cars. You know, when car sales are up, a lot of people can afford a new car now because when they're not using it, they can go haul somebody else around and help pay for it. Well, now they're classifying them as employees. And the one stupid, this is how dumb the majority, all of you that voted for all this majority up there, Democrats, Gavin Newsom, Anthony Radon, the whole freaking crew up there that's giving you this, so how smart they are. They included freelance writers in the ones that are going to now be classified as employees. You can no longer write a column and send it into the Press Enterprise, LA Times, or whatever, and okay, we'll pay you $250, $1,000, whatever for every submit, for you to we'll pay you $250 every week to write an editorial. Throwing a number out there. Okay, fine. You write the editorial, they cut you a check for $250, nothing. No, it's called independent contractor. You don't get there's no tax deduction, nothing, no insurance. It's just like you hire your drain is clogged. You call up the plumber and say, "Hey, can you come over?" He either says, "Well, yeah, that's going to cost you $200 or $75 an hour or whatever." Yeah, please. My drain's plugged. Unclog the drain because the commode no longer flushes. Same thing. You make a deal. Okay, he says, "Yeah, it's going to cost you $50, $100, $200 to snake out the drain, get it going." You say, "Okay, he cleans it out. You pay him his money, $100. Let's say it's $100. You pay him $100. He gets in his truck and goes off. You both are happy. Your commode now flushes, and he is happy because he's got $100. They don't want you to do that ever. I'm saying this because watch the situation in Riverside. Because, like I said, with this, they want unionized employees running taxi cabs that you're paying the government $250,000 for a permit just to have the taxi around so you can charge somebody to go from the airport to their motel room $87 for a 1.5-mile trip. Instead of calling up on duty Uber or Lyft or whatever service, and you get on there and somebody says, "Yeah, I'll haul you over there for $20. Which one is the average person going to choose? This stuff has got to go. I mean, and the majority of you have been electing this stuff. You're electing Adam Schiff to go to Washington, D.C. You're electing Jose Medina from this area to go up there, to go up to Sacramento and give you this kind of crap. Tell you what to do. All of the understanding that you are free. Nothing is free. Nobody's going to hand you nothing. It's ridiculous of what the heck is going on. And we're up on the, again, I mean, I'm going to have to get duct tape or something to hold my head together because it's going to explode. We got a caller coming on. Who we got on the line?
Hey, Roy, it's Dwayne.
Oh, go ahead. Stop me before I keel over on here. My head explodes.
Well, yeah, I was listening to what they're doing to Uber and Lyft drivers, and once again, the free market system comes up with a perfect solution to a situation whereby people can profit and everybody is happy, but it leaves government and their little fingers out of the pie. And so what do? They're going to go ahead and put their fingers in the pie, and we all know what that's going to do. You're going to get the unionized taxi cab service of America that every time you swipe your card, they're going to know that you are going from point A to point B. And by the way, here's your carbon tax because you're using a taxi. And that's what that's all about. The Greta Thunberg.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yes.
She's over there saying we're all...
No, we are not going to use that name on this show again. We're going to call the 16-year-old dunce that doesn't know her hat from a hole in the ground.
I agree, but you know what she is? She's a product of the Swedish socialist theocracy that is over there that absolutely mandates this idiocracy of the planet's on fire, we're all going to die in 10 years. Hey, you know what? If I've only got 10 years left, it's, party time, and I'm not worried about it. But according to these people, we're all going to just simultaneously explode and spin off into space. It's not going to happen, first of all. If we are at a point that man only has 10 years left on this planet because the planet's going to die, there is nothing we are going to do to stop it.
Yeah, and they've run this crap for, we've cited it, United Nations has been going on for decades. They've said every 10 years society's going to end, and you know what? We get bigger and badder each and every time doing all this stuff, and you know what? Voila! How the heck does that happen?
Well, it happens real easily when you don't pay attention and people have a short attention span. And they don't learn from history. You need to go back. This very same garbage they were shoving down our throats in the early 70s, telling us of the coming ice age. You remember that? We were all going to freeze.
Yeah, that was before, 40 or 50 years ago, we were all going to freeze to death.
Right. Then it was, the oceans are going to boil,
yeah.
The icebergs are going to melt, and we're all going to die from, heat, and it's going to flood. There's going to be massive floods. That didn't happen.
Yeah, you could be standing, if you're lucky enough to be standing on Mount Whitney when the oceans, when all the polar ice caps melt and that, and you're going to drown too if you're going to be the last one. Because it's going the whole entire planet Earth will be nothing but a vast water, and unless you're a fish, it's over for you.
So here's the thing that they always overlooked. If all of the polar ice caps melted, all right, the sea would rise approximately 6 feet globally.
Yes.
Well, 6 feet is not enough water to cover all the land masses on the planet.
Yeah.
There's this physics thing again. I know they like to ignore numbers. President Trump says he wants to plant 1 trillion with a T trees. Well, this is fabulous. And the Dunsel, as you call her, says, oh, it's good, but it's not enough. We're still not, you moron. You not understand what trees do with carbon dioxide. Obviously, science and physics are completely not available to these children. They have parked their heads in la-la land, and they don't understand what photosynthesis is. They do not understand that plants convert CO2 to oxygen. And this is why we're in the mess we're in, is because somebody has filled their heads full of absolute garbage. And they call it science. And I love it when they say, all of the science is in. Everybody agrees. You cannot get 2 real scientists to agree that the sky is blue. All right? I mean, all of this peer-reviewed studies, 100%, 90%, 92% of all scientists agree. It's all in, all the information. It's common knowledge. No, it's not. You're using bogus information and bogus facts and bogus math that does not work. There is not enough water trapped in the ice caps to flood the entire world. It is physically impossible. You would have to have 10 times more water in the polar ice caps than you have now. So, and the other thing is, this planet has gone through, historically, going back millions of years, has gone through cycles like this. The land masses move. I know that's a big concept for some people to understand. You remember, who was the congressman that was worried about the island of Guam tipping? You remember that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, he was worried that if everybody went to the edge of the island, it would tip over and capsize.
Yeah. It was absolutely completely crazy stuff going on. Dwayne, you're far more nicer person than me, because the ding dong has her head completely up her butt. That's where it's at. because she absolutely, every time she says something, is just so completely out of shape that it's not even funny. We're just about out of time, so we'll have to pick this up at another date. But I couldn't agree more with exactly what she said, and you probably said it much better than me. Thanks for calling in, Dwayne.
Anytime. Take care.
You got it. That's it for today on that. We'll be back on Fast Friday tomorrow on that. So be back here in 23 hours of that, because we're stepping on the gas just like Donald Trump. Heck with all this BS, doom and gloom. No, we're hitting 50-year overdrive, 110 miles an hour. We're going to make it bigger, better than and any of these ding-dongs in our way, they're going to get mowed over eventually, because right has got to win, and it will eventually win in that. So be back here in 23 hours on Fast Friday, when hopefully Stephanie will be in, and we'll cover all the news and views and everything that's going on in the IE. See ya.